Today is Thursday, September 20th, 2018. This is MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I am Goz, that is Dan, and the voice you hear in your head is producer Danny.
That me?
How's everybody doing?
I'm trying to accumulate enough of these voices you hear in your head as producer Danny, so when I ever get pulled to court for something, I could be like, the voice in my head told me to do it. And they'll be like, what voice? Well, funny you should ask.
What if the judge just randomly hears it's me?
I'm not trying to blame you, Dan. I'm trying to deflect fault in general. Wait, don't get that on tape.
I got it.
Damn it. All right, maybe that plan won't work now since I just announced it.
I can't see anything on these screens.
Is it because of your angle?
Yeah.
You're at a funny angle.
I don't want mini golf. I just got used to Pong. I hate you.
I know, I've never done this one, so I just thought, alright. See how... Was it cool? Have you tried it yet?
No.
Eh.
I haven't tried it yet.
Eh.
Did you try it? Coming up in a minute.
I can't try it till you try it.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh, I thought you got to do their first
like
turn.
Your text message when you... Do you?
I don't know. You're the pioneer here. I didn't even know what we were doing.
I'm the pioneer. I just found out this existed yesterday.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
About, you know,
Coming
through
up at
text,
30.
like how you can play games. Oh, wait, I totally messed this up.
I didn't know that, no. I'm bad.
Pull back and release.
I'm bad at technology,
You're
kids. It's true. It's very true.
Got him.
Oh,
Got
yeah,
him again.
This is terrible. Don't play this. It's
I
the
could have
worst.
told you that already.
Right. Yeah.
Jorge.
Alright, guys. Coming up at 10. Stand by.
I got some gifts for Dan Tom.
Is it still breathing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yes!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goz.
It's Thursday, September 20th. We're here at the Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook. We are the MMA Junkie Radio team. That's Dan Tom over there on the left. That's the Goz. Danny Otto back east. You'll hear his voice from time to time. What's up, guys?
What's going on,
everybody?
Chilling. Dan, you see that from the PFL?
Yeah. What, some new swag here? Some new threads?
Yeah.
All
We're going to have a takeover on next Wednesday.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Right. Let's get into it.
I like this.
John Jones.
My size, nice.
Sure.
That's the big news, man.
I heard something. I saw something on my timeline. There wasn't a lot.
John Jones is back, folks.
But,
John Jones is back. What is it? October 28th. He's officially eligible to return. That'll complete a 15-month suspension with time served, if you want to call it that. Because if you recall, his fight with DC was July 28th of 2017. So if you had the 15 months, on October 28th, Jon Jones is an unsuspended fighter and ready to proceed with his career. Now, I know immediately people started thinking about the New York card. Dana White's already said that's not happening. In fact, he actually said, I'm expecting him in 2019. But it didn't stop people from, I guess, getting away from their opinion of Jon Jones and starting to focus a little bit on USADA. What direction you want to go in?
Jon Jones.
Jon Jones. Okay. What do you think of the second time that he's had to mix it up with USADA and him only getting 15 months as opposed to anywhere from 2 to 4 years?
I think it was dumb. I think he probably should have got a little bit more.
Actually, he did. He got 18 months, and an arbitrator made it 15.
Yeah. It's hard for me to get excited for this guy to come back, because even if you sign a fight and it's a great fight, something I'm looking forward to, I just don't know if he's going to show up to the dance. I need him to do that a couple times before I can ever say, I'm flying to this card or I'm buying this pay-per-view. I just don't trust the guy that much.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the fact that USADA, who I think we were all in agreement when they came aboard, they were going to clean up the sport. So they obviously carried some weight using the WADA guidelines. What about the fact that USADA said, we just don't believe he intended to cheat? Obviously, something entered his body, but when we break down the testing and we look at prior tests, subsequent tests, our feeling is he didn't knowingly intend to cheat.
It's a weird feeling because you have to trust what they say. But at the same time, it's not like this is just one incident in Jon Jones' life where we all go, yeah, it doesn't make sense. He's been this upstanding gentleman to this point. You kind of have to factor in outside factors, and you go, I don't know. That's the way I kind of look at it.
What do you want to see with Jon Jones when he comes back?
Someone like Alex Gustafsson. I think
who, by the way, already said, yeah, I'll dance in New York.
Yeah.
That's November 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. And that would be 5 days after October 28th, which is when he technically comes off suspension. So you could, I don't know if it would be in good taste, and I guess I'd have to go back, unless one of you two can remember. Has the UFC already promoted somebody on a fight that's going to happen after the suspension, but while they're still on suspension? And would it be in good taste to say, yeah, November 3rd, you know, knowing that at that particular moment he's still technically suspended?
I don't think it's in good taste. I thought they did that for Nick Diaz one time, though.
Did they?
I thought so. I'm not 100% sure.
Do you know, Dan?
I want to say Lesnar or Overeem, but I could be just confusing the fact that, you know, I believe it was one of them got popped right after they fought. I believe it was Overeem, right? So, but I want to say that for one of them they did something like that. But
no, here's what happened for Overeem. I think for Overeem, he had a problem prior, and after the fight, I think they had to continue the testing for them to officially deem that a win or something like that.
Yeah,
but
that's sounding a little more.
That was pre-USADA, so
that was. Yes.
It doesn't look like we're going to get Jon Jones versus Alex the Mauler Gustafsson. T. Wood versus Colby obviously could still happen. I know people who want to go see the fight in New York. And, hey, let's not forget, we still got a big fight coming up here in a few weeks in Vegas. But anybody that wants to go to New York and make their plans, you know, I can see their point for their minds to start running as to what the possibilities are. But it looks like anything involving Jon Jones, it's not going to work out. That's his home state. He's from upstate on the western side of New York. That's where he's from. And even though he's lived in Albuquerque the last 5-10 years, his home state is New York. So it's not crazy to think that, oh my God, that would be a perfect placing. Now, a couple things. One thing that I heard was, oh, how convenient, you know, just in time from New York. And of course, like I said, I've heard Dana White say that that's not happening. But, you know, I started thinking about it. MMA fans and media don't put much thought into what comes off their tongue. You know, especially the conspiracy people. It's like they're just quick to go, oh, what do you know? What do you know? You know what I mean? Without like, hold on a second. Give me a calendar. Give me a little bit of literature here on the history, on the precedent. Because I was thinking, and this is me, I'm a fucking Muppet if you think about it. When it comes to these things, like, you know how I forget shit, and I'm not a deep thinker, and like I don't have stats that, like Mike Bond, for example, who right away if something happens he'll say that's the 26th time in 2018. You know, like that guy's programmed differently. But I know this. I was thinking, had they said, all right, it's not 15, it's 16, everybody would go, oh, what do you know? Just in time for Toronto. And where'd they fight the first time? Alex and John Jones. Way to go, UFC. You know, I mean, had they said September 28th, 14 months. Well, guess what? I guess that's insurance in case Conor and Habib. Isn't that convenient for the UFC? Had they said December 28th. Well, what do you know? Tickets aren't selling, huh, for Amanda and Cyborg. Well, look who's going to come to the rescue. John Jones. You see what I'm saying? You almost could place them in any month, and something would happen. January 20th or February 20th. Well, right before DC's had a deadline of when he's going to retire. What do you know? What do you know? Oh, man, that part drives me nuts. It's just a fucking date, man. The 15 months, yeah, that's a little bit bizarre. They went for the round number, which was the 18 months, and then an arbitrator said 15. But, god damn, people, you got to get away from that part of what's coming. Does it sound like a $7 billion company actually needs to catch a break? They're going to, he's saying, Dana White's saying they're going to sell 2.5, which is a big pie in my face because I think I was the highest one, didn't I?
Yeah.
When we did our predictions. I think Andrew Simon was in the 800 grand or 900 grand. We were all thinking $1 million, like, hey, everybody take it easy. He says they're trending for 2. Who knows? I know it's going to be big. That I'm into. But it just doesn't sound to me like they need to catch that break. They'd love to have him back, but those guys think long term. They look and go, he's 30? He's 31? Oh, cool. We got him till 35. Yeah, that's 8 to 10 fights if we play our hands right and if he stays in line. But as far as like nicking the date or something like that, get the fuck out of here, man. Use your heads, stupids. Is that a line? No, stupid people. There you go.
I think, but they just want to bitch about something.
Oh my God!
I mean, that's
bitch is what they do.
But that doesn't mean that sometimes they're not right.
I just don't think I don't think Dana would somehow nudge an arbitrator or hand him a bag that has a $ sign on it and say push it to 15. I don't see that, man. Like, those guys have a lot of money. And they're so used to things going wrong that they have contingency plans or they just live with what it is. Every once in a while, it blows up in their face and they go, oh, my God, do you realize what kind of a card we have here in Calgary? And this was like 5 years ago. Or some of the other ones that just, they get wrecked. That I understand. And then that's when I think he looks at the matchmaker and goes, you needed to stack that bad boy a little bit more. Look what you made us do. You made us pair these two guys up. You made us do this. And so they try and learn as it goes. And sometimes they will and sometimes they don't. But I just don't see them going, we need this bad boy in New York. I don't see it. I really don't. They'll just give you something and you can bitch if you want or not, but I still think it'll be a sellout or it'll be a great gate. It'll be a great card. I mean, New York's actually gotten 3 title fights, I think, on some occasion. So you could actually just go, we're running with 1. What do you think of that, you know? I don't know.
Do you feel like he was punished in his mind? Did it hurt? Because
on
paper, it's a punishment.
If I take them for who they are and they say, we just don't, he fucked up, we just don't think he intended to cheat, then not really much, because these guys kind of only fight the big names twice a year, and sometimes it's like 3 times in 2 years. Although I think John needs to turn it up. Like, we're living off this whole, we got Lyoto, we got Rashad, and he got Shogun. That was like 2011. The greatness is falling away because you need to keep supporting those, you know, padding those stats, like the way Demetrius ran off 11. Or these champs, they're winning multiple titles in different weight classes. He needs to, because he's one of the GOATs of the sport. So to stay in line with that, he needs to turn it up. But
he needs to just stay clean and stay healthy and just stay fighting. Can I give my opinion on the matter?
Yeah, this will take me 10 seconds. Goes to finish out he also couldn't earn money for 15 months. So I guess there was some punishment, but what they presented to us when they said USADA, and they went like that, it doesn't pair up. You know, he was supposed to get anywhere in the 2 to 4 year thing, and so that hasn't made sense. But really, hey, dig down deep, MMA fans and media fans, because there's a lot of them that go, no, let them all inject and have whatever, have any steroid. Fuck it, fight to the death. You know, some people just want fights. So there's a lot of people that do want the cleaner sport, and then there's others that. So in the end, did you really want the 2 to 4 year? I suppose if you are hardcore and that's what you stand for, yeah. But if you're trusting USADA, and unfortunately the fighters did not collectively bargain. So, but if you're trusting USADA, then that's what they adjudicated. Okay, done. Next thing. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Just kind of bring back a lot you covered there, but just to get some facts into the matter. I don't know if if you're upset with the people that are Dana White's putting a bag of money, 9/11 didn't happen, like those people, I understand that, but I think those people are a really small percentage here.
True.
I think most people that are upset, whether it's media, whether it's fans, and yeah, we're acting off the cuff. We're acting off the cuff right now in our own way, right? This is what we do. We come here, especially Monday mornings, you talk about all the time. We're fired up, right? It's human nature. But I think there's a right. I mean, this situation feels like it's right out of a goddamn movie. I'm sorry, pardon my French. The gifted athlete who has things given to him has consequences not made a reality. Kind of an answer to Goes' question. No, I don't think this will be the magic consequence of 15 months, which is, by the way, a 30-month reduction. And by the way, follow Lane Kidd at IAIN Kidd KIDD. He writes some great articles for Bloody Elbow, and he usually covers these kind of things. And he's kind of just pumping out facts right now, and he's even putting in comparison that not only is it okay, well, it was a snitching clause. That this is what a lot of people have. I'm seeing even John Jones fans, even people that are saying, like you said, I just want to see the fight. I don't care about USADA. John Jones is the greatest. I'm waving the flag. You know, those people that are always getting mad with all this DC stuff. All those same people. I'm actually seeing some of those people turn because, like, wait, this guy snitched. And because that's a whole, another category, the whole gangster category and stuff, which I'm sure you can appreciate.
What am I missing on the snitch, though?
It was actually a clause for if you snitch and you give a dealer to USADA, they will reduce your sentences. And he actually provides examples from weightlifting and other sports where they've done this, and the maximum usually you see is maybe 12 months. John Jones got over 50% for a 30-month reduction. That's unheard of, which means under this clause, the clause that they're citing, because again, they couldn't source. They couldn't source, which technically USADA does not have to find the source to kind of lighten the suspension kind of as they're doing. Yeah. They don't have to, which is up for debate within itself. But the angle that reason why it was a reduction was because of this clause. I don't have the number. There's a bunch of numbers to it, but now they're calling it the snitching clause. Because he's a terrible snitch. They already found it out. Because you give because you gave away a source, which tells me that that it was important to find the source for obvious reasons. Public perception. You want to find a source especially if you're gonna adjudicate somebody like this, even though it was an arbiter, not USADA, right? We had to keep this in mind. This is one person who made this decision. But told me that's why it took so long, right? They were trying to find a source, couldn't come up with a source. So Plan B. All right, let's throw some people under the bus. What do we got to do to make John Jones back in the octagon? I think we just saw it play out. So, which sounds like right out of a movie, right? It was going to turn state's evidence. Like, it sounds like right out of a movie when you actually stop and read this stuff. And again, for a guy when you go through, and I would never deny John Jones as being a talent. Light heavyweight and heavyweight need him. I'm very excited from a selfish point of view, from the fighting point of view. I've never held any of that against him, but personally, facts are facts. The guy, T-bones a pregnant woman, hits and runs, tests positive twice for drugs, has a weird low T test in relation to the two fights that he tested wrongly for Daniel Cormier, plus the two elevated, PED tests. I mean, those are facts. And that's not even including,
hard to look past it.
Not including any of the eye pokes and stuff, and him admitting that, I do this and I cheat.
Did the snitch thing come out in the original article? of everything that happened with John Jones? I just missed that. Or was that
no?
did that trickle out later?
Within hours of the announcement, it was trickling out. People were diving into the literature that was being out there.
Good stuff.
But again, shouts to Ian Kidd. Sorry if I'm brutalizing.
Oh, it's
your
Ian?
name. Yeah.
Not Lane?
Yeah, the I is capitalized, and I think it's like, the Irish.
I thought it was Ian
Scottish.
too, but when you said that, I go, oh shit! This whole time I've been thinking it was Ian.
names.
But we'll look it up. We'll look it up to
Yeah,
make sure
yeah, I
and
can
give him
use
another shout out.
names.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I didn't even know about this part B of it all.
Yeah.
And that, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards just that.
I mean,
But
it's tough. I mean, if you're the guy who's cited as hiding under the octagon when drug testers are coming, and
right
now
I've heard that story,
turning over there and
but without
tough.
it being, I guess, more factual
True.
than just
Yes, very true. Very true.
like, that's one of them where
allegedly.
Yeah, exactly.
Allegedly.
And so here's the thing. What about this, guys? What about just from the moral side? Unless he just has no morals. What about, is the punishment enough that he knows the truth, whether he really snitched or not, whether he really hid under an octagon, whether what he says publicly is a complete, fabrication? And I guess for some people that's not even a punishment, right?
Not really.
Because I know when I've
Doing it
said
to me.
something, but deep down I'm like, I feel something else, and then you just kind of feel I guess it's your tolerance of how bad you feel terrible. You're like, oh man, you just hang your head and you're over it by the time you get to your car. Or there's other people that can carry it for days, weeks, years. I don't know.
I mean, I think remember when he forgot the camera was rolling? When he was going at DC, telling him he was going to kill him and all that? I think that changed a lot for people. Because I think then they were able to see, okay, there is something to this guy having multiple personalities where he's this way in front of the cameras, but he's really like that.
Make some fans.
Yeah, I think this
ties
time
into
around,
it
I think might be a little different for him.
And I will say too, kind of, you're talking about punishments. For what it's worth, I don't have the exact literature in front of me, but I read that the CSAC, which again they were kind of waiting on this news too before they can act right. They are not tacking on anything additional, and just the whole community serve the BS.
Hey, do you think those guys really do that? Like, doesn't Connor have to do sometime? And now
Yeah,
that he's in
pick up
New York,
trash.
will he actually say,
Yeah, when
once
did
it's
that
over,
happen?
put on an orange suit and do stuff?
I think so.
or
I
is
mean,
it
if you
with-
see like Lindsay Lohan picking up trash, right? I mean,
Yeah.
people like that, I think they do it.
Or Connor, didn't he do for the bottle incident? He turned and he's like, "Can I shoot a anti-bullying promo instead?"
Yeah, that's the workaround stuff like that. But I think they do have to do something.
Wow. Well, all right. As you can tell by our voices, I think we're still more despondent rather than happy. And you would think that when someone comes back from an injury or a suspension or a contract holdout, we'd be like, yeah, all right. We start pairing them up. And we did do a little pairing up early. But I think it's been more on just the overall. It's an accumulation, man. It's just an accumulation of disappointments. But
Damage is a
let me ask
sport,
you this. So now that we know he's coming back, who do you think makes the most sense for him? Now, right away, let's just say New York wasn't off the table and somebody said DC versus Jones in New York. I'd shoot it down, and I'll tell you why. Not that I don't want to see a part 3. Not that it wouldn't be a big fight. And I'm not saying DC would win or John Jones would win. All I'm saying is it just doesn't sound realistic. Like, DC's a fat and happy 246, and I think it's too soon for him to have one of those camps where he dials it in for 205. And that's if he was down to fight John Jones, which you could tell by his responses already. He probably doesn't want to go down that road. He just wants to have the Lesnar fight and sail off into the sunset. So let's rule that one out, honestly.
Right.
And let's say New York is on the table or anything else is on the table. Who do you really want to see him against, Dan?
I kind of second what Ghost said. I mean, the Gustafson makes sense.
Okay.
You give him Lusty Gusty.
Right. And shouldn't, by then, the UFC go, listen, we heard what you said. You want Lesnar. We're going to make this guy and Gusty for the title? Does he immediately come back to a title? Or do others just deserve it and John needs to take one fight and then fight for the title? Because this fight can be a 5-round fight. Doesn't have to be for the title. I think we'd all sign up and pay for it. Or does it need to be for the title right then and there?
I don't think it needs to be for the title right then and there. I think one fight and then. And you know what? The last time this happened, really, a guy like OSP could have capitalized on that night. I think Daniel Cormier would have beat him that night. So if there's ever a time to get him, it might be now. And Gustafson's a tough fight for him.
All right. Let's take this break and then come back. Let's get your reaction, Junkie Nation. We have a few minutes before we catch up with our first guest, which will be Paul Felder. We'll also catch up with Douglas Lima to begin the second hour. Well, I'd love to know what you all think about the return of John Jones. His suspension will officially end on October 28th. He'll be free to fight anytime after that, including New York, even though it appears Dana White has kind of shot that down. But it's not like he's never done a 180. All right, it's Fight Nation 93, what you're listening to here on Sirius XM. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. drop an elbow on the food? It's so bad. Huh?
During the commercial break, they were all tested for performance-enhancing drugs. George and Goes came back clean, but Dan tested positive for Viagra. Like a lot of it. Here are the boys.
Football season is here, and Barstool Radio is bringing the tailgate atmosphere to you every day with their unique and outlandish takes on the sports and pop culture stories that are trending this week. Enjoy refreshing content that is by the common man, for the common man, on Barstool Radio. And that can be found on Power 85, streaming on your phone or at home on SiriusXM connected devices. Sorry, Barstool Radio. I butchered your whole
We apologize.
You were
take
listening
there.
to yourself?
Yeah, I wanted to look at the YouTube chat just to shout out some names.
Who
And
said
I-
we went to get burritos or tacos?
Tacos. It was somebody by the name of... Oh, I lost it.
Oh.
Things just started.
That was a good burn.
It was a taco break. That was a good one.
I'll look.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phones. We'll start off with Ford in Las Vegas. What's up, Ford?
Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How about you?
Well, I'm very excited because in a starless time, I've come to appreciate stars. I wanted to be the first Junkie caller in Junkie Nation to welcome back Mr. John Jones. You know, because now we don't have to pretend like DC is legitimate, and I see that you're making excuses for him already to duck the fight, but we know he's using the excuse that they're not offering enough money. So the question I have here is, why are we not asking him to defend or vacate because he's holding up the division? If he's sitting around at 240 or 250, whatever he's sitting around at, and he can't fight because of that, he can't defend his belt because of that, why are we not pushing for defend or vacate? Why is it okay for him to hold up the division but nobody else?
Well, I agree. I think he just needs to make that decision. And he probably should have made it because there's been times where he says, I want to defend, that other champions haven't done that, and so I want to be the one that does it. But then he'll brag about being 245, 246, and that there's just no sense in him coming back. Mm-hmm. So we're all listening, DC, when you do say this, and I also would like the division to proceed. If he's just going to fight Lesnar for the last payday, that's fine, but then he needs to give up that 205 belt to whoever else is in the running.
I'm sure behind the scenes they're telling him more clearly what they think the picture is, and he probably adapts to it, I would imagine, right?
But how about this? He started off with what'd you call it, Ford? Starless times, or
we've gone through a pretty starless time with MMA.
And now we get Connor in 2 weeks and Brock and Jones both within the next 6 months. I think that's a safe little timeline. And maybe Connor again, within those 6 months. So that'll be a nice run of pay-per-view stardom, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks, man. Have a good day.
Easy, all right, Ford. See ya. Let's go to Kevin in Chicago. What's up, Kevin?
What's up, guys? So, Dan, let me get this straight. I read something on Twitter. John had to turn in his drug dealer so he could get some time off, reduced. Is that how it works?
They didn't say who it was, but I got to imagine they're not going to go after fighters. In this case, usually it's after like your source or maybe coaches, gyms, facilities, establishments, stuff like that. That's as far as in other sports what they've done.
Oh man, not a good look. This is not a good look. But I'm not surprised because I could tell by the way Joe Rogan was kind of framing, I don't think he meant to take it. I don't think he meant to take it. It was probably just mixed with creatine. It had the writing on the wall. But anyways, who do you think should come back? I don't think they should give him a title shot right away. I think he needs to fight a big top name. If he wins that, then give him a title shot.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to go. I think
who do you match for the title then?
Make it to the fight.
Who do you match for the title?
I think John Blachowicz is up there.
Come on.
I think if Anthony Smith knocks out Volkan Oezdemir, he'll be up there. And I think Gustafsson, he's up there. So it's between them three.
But if Gustafsson fights Jones and they're not fighting for the title, then who are the top two guys if DC advocates the throne?
Yeah, I think.
So I guess the winner of Oezdemir and Smith is a good one.
Yeah.
And I think Latifi might be the other one. Now, he's already signed up to fight Corey, Anderson, but Corey I think's won 2 and 3 in a row, and actually looked pretty good.
Right.
So they may already have a little unofficial semifinal going there between those guys. Glover's hurt. I suppose OSP, should he beat Dominic Reyes, can say, hey, I'm still here. I don't know. So that's why those fights will be interesting, because not only do they need to win, they need to impress. Now that is if DC relinquishes and if Jones and Gustafson fight and don't fight for the title. But if they go, come on, he's John Jones, for crying out loud, he needs to fight for the title, then who do you pair Jones up against? Is it automatically Gus? I think
I think it is.
Really?
I thought it was it was a fun fight. It was. I think you could sell it really well. And
but is Gustafson deserving?
He turned a corner though. Now
he beat Blachowicz.
Where now he's talking smack, and I think
the question isn't if Gustafson deserves it. The question is if Jones deserves it. He's been on a 1.5 year layoff, coming off a drug suspension. I think he needs to earn it. Gustafson is the #1 contender, and he was coming off. He beat Glover Teixeira
and Blachowicz. 2 years ago.
He had the win over Blachowicz, yep.
Yeah.
But Blachowicz, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. John Blachowicz. He has 4 wins in a row. He's been the most active.
Yep.
I think he's the most deserving for a title shot, honestly. Even if he's not the big name, they obviously won't bring in the pay-per-views, so I know UFC's not going to give him a title shot right away. I think it should just be Anthony Smith versus John Blachowicz for the interim title. That is if Smith beats Ozdemir.
Hey, I like that. I like that Kevin's call is coming right after Ford's call, because it represents really how polarizing this topic is. Not just from the USADA aspect, but from the in-sport aspect, right? For all the arguments you could say that DC doesn't want the John Jones fight and he should fight the John Jones fight. You have the same thing as, does John Jones deserve this fight? And you can make the arguments back and forth. And I think this is kind of this situation, no matter how you cut it, is really making us realize the hypocrisy, whether it's in our sport or in ourselves, because there's a lot of hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're like you were bringing it up earlier, like you can't be this guy, but you can't also be the tinfoil hat guy. You gotta, at a certain point, you gotta pick. What are you for here?
Right.
And I think again, I don't even know where I stand, to be honest, but I believe that that's kind of the more honest take here. It's so hard to be on one side or the other. There's arguments on each side, no matter how you cut the situation.
Want to know what my conspiracy theory is?
What's your conspiracy?
What I think is going to happen?
At least if it makes sense, yeah, sure.
Well, I'm thinking it's going to make sense,
right,
but I know it's a little out there. I don't believe DC about one more and he's done. What I think is going to happen is I think he gives up the belt. I think John Jones wins it. I think DC beats Brock, and then John Jones calls him out for his heavyweight title. And that's how they get that fight done. That's how they spin it, so that everybody doesn't feel like they're watching the same
fights
shit
past
again.
the age of 40. Okay.
Yeah.
That's believable. I think I
that's
said that about 3 months ago, that I could easily see him get swayed by just too much money. When we play What If? Hey, for $500?
Yeah.
All right, because if I just go out there and do this, you'll go, no. But if I go for $500, you go, ooh, here we go. You take a shot. Here we go. Same thing with DC. Hey, fight. Nah, I told my wife, past the age of 40. No, all right, here's a bunch of money. See if your wife rethinks her stance or you. Ooh, we talked about it. Yeah, we're in. You know what I mean? So I could see that. I like it. Kevin had a good call, and then right at the end, he digressed a little bit, because I thought we all established that if John Jones were to not fight, that's where we came up with our scenarios.
Yeah,
but there's an interesting question here, because Gustafson beat Blachowicz. It was about 2 years ago. Should that count? I mean, I'm a big proponent of head-to-head matchups. That has to count for something.
Yep. Yeah.
But Gustafson has also not been busy. He waited a year and then came back and got another win, Teixeira. And then Blachowicz peeled off 4 in a row. So does his 4 in a row erase the head-to-head? Because that'll be interesting right there to see, who's who in regards to that matchup. Yeah. There's the Volkan, Ozdemir, and Anthony Smith fight. That's going to be something to consider. Again, this is under the premise that John Jones is not immediately fighting for a title. Right. Who else is next? Let me throw one last name into the hat. What about Anthony Johnson? Did he jack up so much that if he comes back, he's only coming back as a heavyweight?
Yes.
Because we didn't see Anthony Johnson versus John Jones, and I remember 100%. We were all pretty excited about Anthony Johnson versus John Jones.
I don't think I think he's done with weight cuts, and he's a heavyweight.
Yeah, there's an interview that came out this week. with him, and yeah, he stated that this.
If he comes back, it's a heavyweight.
Yeah, but he just stated it is not.
Okay.
Not interested. Yeah, he was asked about Jones and all that, and just it sounded. Ironically, he's been pretty consistent with his answers since the beginning, and if you read his answers from before, they pretty much match up to what he said this week. Like it hasn't changed.
He's got a lot of side businesses he's working on, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of side businesses, and he's focusing on lifting competitions and stuff at the moment. He's out of the USADA pool too, so that also puts a hankering in any immediate plans. But I will say I don't think it's as complicated, and I agree with you, George. I don't think it's as complicated as a shakeout for the light heavyweight options as you think. Regardless of whether you want to put a title or interim title out there, you're going to pick two guys. I would say Gustafsson and Jan. You do Gustafsson for the selling of the match, and you give Jan the understudy role because the UFC, although they keep, ironically will do it for the main and then the co-main will drop it out, they have been better about hiring understudies to be ready for those roles, to make weight on the day. And Jan Blachowicz has had a pretty busy schedule, so he I don't know if it was this fight or the last one. He actually said he wanted a break. Again, he's put together 4 wins in a pretty close amount of time. But you pay him money for a nice understudy role to be able to jump in and sneak attack for a possible interim belt, then I say yes. And about the interim belt, the reason why I could see Goza's scenario working and why I wouldn't be against it, kind of like what you were saying, George, is that, again, the caveats work both ways here. DC, it's not his fault that John Jones tested positive and the UFC decided to put X amount of matchups and put him in there. He showed up, he fought, and he won when he wasn't facing John Jones, okay? He got his belts, and UFC allowed him to go up to heavyweight. Okay, DC's not going in, hey, Dana, I want to do this. All right, DC, that's not how it's working. The UFC put together Stipe versus DC, allowed him knowing full well what it could mean if DC won and became a champ. He became a champ. Then they went full well, let Brock Lesnar in the cage set up that matchup and lock that in, get us all salivating. DC clearly locked into it for financial, career, and his own personal. He loves pro wrestling. He's 100% into it. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a caveat there. It's not that it's not that DC went in and decided to do it. He just showed up. He fought. He won. He made the most of opportunities, which the odds makers said he wasn't going to be able to do. Whereas Jones, the caveat is, well, he never lost the championship. If we're going to make an interim, why not now? DC's busy again. He's booked. Not completely his fault. The UFC has to do with that too. He's booked. Let's go ahead and this is a time for an interim title. Who's questioning? Even people that are criticizing John Jones, they're not questioning his greatness as a fighter. They're not questioning his standing in the 205-pound division. So I could see them putting an interim title there, and of course it's going to create the animosity, and maybe they didn't throw enough money, like you said, at DC this time around. DC clearly not interested in the John Jones match from his comments last night, but you throw John Jones back in the pool, you give him an interim title, and then it kind of.
But then again, the Lesnar fight pays a lot. So then the way you box DC into in the corner and go, all right, what you were going to make off Brock will pay you for Jones. Now do you want to fight? Now he's forced to come up with another answer. Either I don't want to fight John Jones, or yes, I'll take the fight.
That's true.
And we won't know because I think John's focus is probably 205 first and then dealing with whatever comes in the future.
That's true.
Now, what's the most likely thing, though? Him and Gustafsson for the title, right?
I got to
We can say all this, Ozdemir, Anthony Smith, Jimmy Manuwa, and whoever else. We can talk all we want, but I think the most likely is those two for the title, and that's just that.
Who you got?
Well, you know how you said OSP when he fought John, had he fought a little better, because he also took the fight on late notice. John may have been up, maybe could have taken a loss, and for sure maybe DC could have given him one. So then when John fought, after that fight, almost the same amount of time passed before he got to DC. It was like 16 months. And against DC, he won. Of course, we don't know about that little enhancement, if it mattered or not. DC doesn't seem to make an excuse, so I want to make an excuse for him. So I've seen John fight with a long layoff and not look good. I've seen John fight with a long layoff and look good. Gun to the head, I don't want to die. You just got to give me Jones. Are there ways Gustafsson can win? Yeah. He took him to 5 strong rounds. He's been fighting better since then, but he's also taken some time off too. So I think I'd be forcing myself to convince myself that he's the guy to go with. Jones.
What are you doing?
I think the early lean, you have to say Jones. He's going to be favored, and he deserves to be favored. That being said, I saw a tweet that said, "What's your worst MMA hot take?" And I didn't think about it at the time. And here's my worst MMA hot take. Now I got to rewatch the fight again. It's probably been a couple of years, but live and upon a couple of rewatches with a couple of years in between, I don't say robbery. I don't say anything like that. But I did have a scorecard for Gustafsson, and I believe that there is an argument for a scorecard for Gustafsson in that fight.
You sure?
I think, I think round 4, one of the ends of the round, I believe round 4, he rocks him with a spinning elbow. You could make the argument that he stole the round, even though Gustafsson, by the numbers, by the visual, by the ring control, won most round. I still gave that round to Jones, though, because he won more because he hurt him.
Yeah.
But the same thing happened where you have a disproportionate amount of time, and John Jones, and it's something that a lot and it's smart. It's not picking on Jackson Wink fighters or anything. But whether it's the takedown at the end of the round, which we all know about, but a lot of times, too, especially depending on the fighter's skill set, they'll start throwing flashy stuff and spinning stuff, and that'll often win judges over. But if you look, is it actually landing?
I know that Gustafsson won about 3.5 minutes of rounds 4 and 5, because he was up 2-1 on the judges' scorecards.
Those were the crucial
going
rounds.
Into 4 and 5. And in round 4, he was winning it, and then John came back and won it. And in round 5, Gustafsson again was winning it, and then John came back and won it. So he was real close to being a world champion that night.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it once, maybe twice again, and then going, I think Jones was the right call.
But Jones hardcores will hang me over the fence for that. I've gotten arguments with people. They get so upset. It's like the same crowd who In-N-Out Burger type people. They're just like, no, this is it, 101% and nothing else. You're like, really? There's not even like an argument. Like I can concede. I can concede the other way. But it's a great lesson, that fight for winning rounds. But to Goz's answer, John Jones, since his first fight with Daniel Cormier, guys, he's only fought twice. And that first fight with Daniel Cormier was January 2015, which means if he fights as early as November 30th, 2018, or December or January, it means it'll be 3 years. John Jones is only at 2 fights. And now George just referenced the OSP fight that happened within that time frame. We saw the layoff. We saw, and again, if you want to put your tinfoil hats on, people, that was also where the regime change started of USADA, right? That's where we see John Jones end up on the map there, right? Doesn't have the greatest performance, but he comes and has an amazing performance, right? 214, but unfortunately, the things follow. Again, I'm not one of these people like steroids doesn't teach you how to throw a spin kick. I'm not trying to throw down John Jones's character, but you have to ask these questions where he is the greatest fighter. He should be favored to beat Gustafsson, guys. But it's kind of troubling when you look at it from the other side, though, too, right? 2 fights in 3 years, and you look at all the stuff he's had to go through, regardless of whether you think he's,
But gun to the head. Sum it up. Who do you got, Jones or Gustafsson?
Gun to the head, man. If there's a gun in the head, I can't go against the best
That's
fighter
in
the world, John Jones.
I think most people, you pull out the gun and they're like, okay, hey, you got me, man. I got Jones. But
I'd be sweating it.
But it'd be a great fight. I think we can all agree it'd be a great fight.
Yes.
It's just that we have to announce a winner when someone says, "Well, what are you leaning towards, or what do you think?"
Yeah.
Let's see here. Aaron Luzanilla says scam. He must be talking about our early conversation as we were talking about Jones. Rolly Estrada says Jones is a cheater. Ben Hansen says, "Oh, he's just reporting for duty." Knuckle Up 101, shout out to the Human Moron.
Yes.
Shout out to MMA Buds. That's Dan from Oregon. Any other? Let's see here. Everybody just fucking sucking each other. Hi. Good morning. How you doing? Great. I mean, get to some feedback here. Let's see. Juan Ramirez trying to pick up on Rolly. Where you from? Want to grab coffee? All right, there's no one really shouting shit out here. All right, we have one more break.
We have one more break and one more call.
Let's take the break, that we play it safe, and then we'll come back and take more calls. 866-522-2846. Stay close.
It was the blackest
What's a favorite sea cat?
Charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college football, or Major League Baseball team sent right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sportstoday and click Add to my calendar. Danny, who picked that song that we just came back to?
Let me take a look.
That one's a good one. You didn't like this one?
I did like this one.
Oh, yeah.
That's
they broke
Tom
up
Petty, right?
No, this is R.E.M.
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 I'm terrible.
They broke up 3 years ago now, right?
Did they really?
Yeah. I know that because it's Chevelle's favorite band.
R.E.M.? Mm-hmm. Mark Seide, if you ever call into the show, we will usher you to the front of the line. Anytime you call, at least for the month of September. So
Ben Garcia picked R.E.M. Sorry to interrupt.
Ben Garcia, same thing. Ben Garcia, if you call in anytime in September, we will usher you to the front of the line. Mark Seide, you will get the same treatment. However, Ben Garcia, you keep submitting whatever songs you want. I like your taste.
Yeah.
Mark Seide, please don't ever request a song again, at least till 2019. Because
that's a long suspension.
The one we went out to was awful. I was listening to that going, oh, boy. Do we just need to start retracting the listeners' choose music?
Wow.
I edited some Slayer into my podcast the other day, and I was like, I wonder if people think Ford chose that, because he always submits Slayer on our Thursdays usually. If you ever hear Slayer, folks, it's usually Vegas Ford.
This one was called Frank Zappa, Titties and Beer. I love the title, but I didn't like the song.
I was shocked we had it in the first place. That's why I put it in, because I was so shocked that we actually had it in the system.
Well, all right. Let's talk to Cage Side Nick from Arizona. What's up, Cage Side Nick?
Not much. How's it going, y'all?
Good, man.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the whole John Jones situation. That's pretty crazy how, I guess, just money talks with just having one of the best pound-for-pound guys come in without just... Is he already back in the USADA pool, or how's that working out?
Yeah, he never left it. So he could fight October 29th if they had a fight card. But it doesn't sound like he's going to fight till 2019.
Does it make you think
of
that?
That's just crazy. I don't know. It's like all these guys who, it's pretty much all the bad boys of the UFC get to do whatever they want, and money talks, I guess. But yeah,
that's every
all
sport.
Good, though. Yeah, I want to wonder about the whole junkie gathering. Like, is it next month, right?
It's October 3rd through the 6th, Wednesday through Saturday. However, some people are arriving a little early, and some people stay a day or two afterwards. So come on down anytime. But officially, I guess it's Wednesday through Saturday.
2 bottles of Patron gets you to the front of the junkie gathering.
All right, that sounds good, then. All right, you guys have a good one.
Okay, you too. Cordrick, are we friends on Facebook?
Yeah.
All right, so hit me up there because I need to add you to a group if you're really coming for the junkie gathering. It'll kind of help. When people ask me, hey, where we're watching, and I'm trying to organize that, the first thing they ask is how many are coming, and so I have that number. But anybody that just kind of thinks they're going to just show up, I don't know that we can guarantee you seats, and if you want to kind of sit with us or things like that, it would help a lot if you just tell me who you is, and I'll add you to Facebook.
All right, that sounds good, then. We'll do. All right, you guys have a good one.
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Easy, Cordrick.
That guy's easy. He just rolls with the punches, right?
Cordrick?
Yeah, but you could tell he had a little bit of that conspiracy theory thing going on.
A little bit. He
didn't overdo it.
Of course, the ones with money are going to plead their case and try and find loopholes and maybe get a reduction in their sentences. That kind of makes sense. But it looks like USADA's always taken the time to, again, adjudicate the case and then render a decision. Seems like it takes them forever. But then when they do, they go, these are our findings. This is what we thought, this, that, or whatever. And I don't know that I've really had a problem with it. Now, there are people like that gentleman you named earlier, Lane or Ian or whatever. There are writers like that'll say, hey, look at Mendez and look what he did. You know what I mean? Is that comparable to what Jones did? Kinda, but this guy sat out the whole sentence and the other one didn't. Well, true, but one of them also adamantly fought his case while the other one said, all right, you got me, and didn't. You didn't see much of a pushback from Mendes, right? Or Lyoto. I don't know how much Lyoto argued his case as well.
Do you think the argument was worth the time that he saved?
Yes, because
he probably had to pay an
if he
attorney
did
a lot of
15
money.
months
Yeah, it's a lot of
versus
money
24 months, then that's a 7th way. What is that? That's a 9-month window in which you could have fought maybe once or twice, and in that time, if you can make $1 million, yeah.
I don't know.
Or Jones makes more than that.
I just hear a lot of fighters like Tim Means and stuff explaining whether they chose to fight it or not. A lot of them saying getting the money amount that it costed to get tested was way too much. So if that's way too much, I can't imagine the amount of money it takes to go through all that and then pay the attorney and get it all the way to an arbitrator in the first place. And that's what they're saying. You got to have a lot of money to facilitate the whole process. Like the Chappelle Show skit, 2 justice systems.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, that's 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will be talking to Douglas Lima, the former Bellator welterweight champ. He's going to be fighting here in about a week or so, so we'll catch up with him. And it looks like we may have added a guest. Stephen Morocco, the magnificent Morocco, I think wants to come on and talk a little bit about this subject. If you haven't heard, folks, Jon Jones is back in the game as of October 28th of this year. His suspension has been reduced to 15 months, and including time served. That's why he's coming back. All right, stay close. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on Fight Nation 93. I like that jam.
What fighter walked out to this trivia?
Oh boy.
It was a remix. There's a brief intro. It pops into this.
I don't know.
It was in Japan.
Was it?
It was when BJ Penn fought Lyoto Machida at heavyweight.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dan.
It was a Kill Bill. Yeah, it comes out.
So that wasn't even a UFC fight. Okay.
No. He played like a Kill Bill like intro, like from like the soundtrack, like high pitched noise, and then it pops into this song, and he comes out.
Which one was it, Lyoto or BJ?
BJ's coming out, all 194 pounds of him.
How do you remember this?
This is like old school and found. I don't
like
know if you can find this video
2004, right?
anymore.
Or something like that?
This is, I mean, this was
He's got a beautiful mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking like within the last
I'm
2
sure
years.
someone else came out to
If
it.
you had given me 100 guesses, I would have never guessed it. Wow. All right. BJ Penn versus Lyoto. That's the reference you just gave me.
Oh wow, that wasn't even in the UFC.
It wasn't even.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. All right. So the Junkie Gathering. I know you guys have been axing about it. If you're pulling the trigger and showing up, we'll have some official events happening Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I know some of you have already told me you're coming in a little early, and that's cool. We'll all hang out, and we'll see if we can do some spontaneous makeshift stuff. I would suggest the Excalibur at this point, because especially once the announcement got made of McGregor versus Khabib being the same week, you obviously know that thing's a sellout, and a lot of people are going to be in town. So right away, I know the Luxor was already looking at being sold out, and now with this information, Mandalay Bay, I think Delano, a lot of those places are looking to sell out, or they might get kind of expensive. Park MGM, by the way, is still pretty reasonable.
You don't get any closer than that.
Yeah, that's to the arena. And from there, from Park MGM, you just cross Toshiba Plaza. That's an easy walk. You go through the New York. That's an easy walk. You cross over the bridge to Excalibur. Easy again. And then you ride the tram from Excalibur to Mandalay Bay. At the most, it's 15 minutes from your room at Park MGM. So look at that option. All right. Dan, props to you. I know I come in and I give you guys your, those sheets that they give us.
Yeah.
And I always say, hey, write down who you like. And I was going through a bunch of notes. And, Dan, you did technically give me Woodley, Aljo, and Rivera.
Hey.
So that three-teamer, spontaneous, on-the-spot hit. Jess also gave Woodley, Tatiana, and Rivera, which I think Dan's is tougher because I thought Stamen versus Aljo was tougher to pick than Suarez versus Esparza.
Yeah. On paper, yeah.
Just because of the odds. But she also gave a three-teamer. Hal from Chicago, last week you gave us the Ravens. Thanks a lot. They lost. So please call in this week so we can do the opposite. So I've not caught on to just how bad he is at picking games.
Now you're finally on board after
well,
all this time?
Now I'm taking down notes.
Well, technically,
so Hal, I want to know who you got tonight, and then you walk up there with all the money and say, we're doing the opposite.
I'm in.
So you're saying Hal had a successful title defense?
Pretty much.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. All right, let's talk to Steven Morocco, the magnificent Morocco, one of our best writers at USA Today Sports and MMA Junkie. What's up, Morocco?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
Great, thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay,
up, Steve?
So Steven, I think if anybody's all read up on this whole USADA, John Jones, UFC mess, it's you. In fact, you've already started making calls to see who can and who can't dance with Jones, if New York was a possibility, if it wasn't. So you're way ahead of the rest of us. Tell us right now, what's the latest with that, and just your initial reaction to John Jones getting a sentence of 15 months, which really we're only 1 month more away from that because of time served.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the timing is pretty conspicuous coming in 5 days before the press conference. I did do a little bit of late work on sort of what comes next, and I think the thought for a lot of people was that John was going to be facing Alex in a rematch. So I called up Alex's rep. They said, well, he said, well, I know a little bit more than you, and I'm feeling more optimistic now than I have in a long time with this thing. But as of this morning, he kind of tapped the brakes on that, and I think that's probably in relation to what Dana said recently about Jones not being at UFC 230. That being said, I think we should, obviously over the last 24 hours, we should be prepared for anything as far as what Jones's future is. I think a lot of people expected him to get between 2 and 4 years. And what we're hearing from, or what I'm reading from this arbitration decision is that wasn't even on the table. Like, he was facing between 12 and 18 months. And that was because he chose to provide information about anti-doping violations that he has knowledge of, or information that could lead to an anti-doping charge on another fighter. So it's obviously been a very unexpected turn of events since this thing was announced.
Did you know that somebody could, kind of like in criminal court, offer up info on somebody else, or like they say on the streets, snitch, so that you can get a lighter sentence? Did you know that existed within USADA and WADA guidelines?
Yeah, but I didn't, and I still don't know the term of it. How long is John Jones supposed to provide information? Is this forever? Like, is it until USADA goes, okay, you're cool? And I also didn't know that it would come into play so quickly, given the circumstances of John's case. You know, we still don't know what he tested positive for, really. I mean, there's this metabolite that they found in his system that could have come from 5 different steroids, and they still don't know that, and it doesn't seem to matter, or it didn't seem to matter in the arbitration decision, because the UFC's anti-doping problem says you don't need to find the source. So there's definitely been some surprises here as far as the application of the rules. It seems like Jones, he obviously took the best strategy in offering information, because it took 30 months right off the top.
Right, but here's the thing, Steven. In the criminal world, when somebody does that, when you do snitch, I think it's pretty well established, I'm a bad guy. I just don't want to serve all this time or get put to sleep or whatever permanently. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You kind of establish, I'm a bad guy. Yeah, what John Jones has been saying all this time is, I don't cheat. But to be involved in that world and to say these things, it just doesn't seem like they go hand in hand.
You mean not knowingly ingesting
I just happen to be a clean-cut guy that knows bad things. Like, what are you, like the neighborhood watch? I mean, you see what I'm saying?
I don't think he cares. I think it's just what it is. I'm with you. I think outside looking in, I'm thinking, wait a minute, you don't, but you're involved in that world. It doesn't make sense to us. Right. To him, I think he just doesn't care. He just wants to get paid.
Let me stop you guys. Are you guys trying to say that John Jones is saying one thing and doing another thing, or it appears that way?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
This is all so bizarre to me, man. I just knew that he got reduced to 15 months, and then Dan actually told me in the morning that some other stuff had trickled out, and I just couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Well, there is some hypocrisy in the language, though, right, Stephen, as far as not knowingly ingesting the supplement, something we hear tossed around a lot with these kind of cases, to what George is talking about. Traditionally, when you're snitching on somebody, you certainly know something at that point, right? So is there an obvious hypocrisy in the language there?
So usually the way this works when it comes to tainted supplements, and I think Tim Means and Josh Barnett are great examples. They come in and they say, we found it. We identified the source of the positive test. We know it was from this supplement. Therefore, the supplement company put something in their product that they didn't advertise. I didn't do it. I didn't knowingly ingest this thing. How could I have known if they were tainting the supplement? In this case, that doesn't even come into play, because there's this language in the UFC's policy that doesn't require the source to be identified. So they can go off testimony, the testimony of the fighter. They can go off all these other things other than that particular issue to determine how much to reduce the suspension. So yeah, that's a bit surprising, and it should be noted that the USADA's policy, or the UFC's anti-doping policy, is different from the world anti-doping policy in regards to that. The world anti-doping policy places a lot more onus on finding that source. So you could interpret it as like there's some wiggle room here, and Jones took the most. He used the defenses that were at his disposal, and he's obviously going to do that because he was facing a 4-year suspension. So It's, as far as all this other stuff about him, saying I'm a clean-cut guy and I just got, but I've got some dirt on other people, that's all stuff that's for everybody to debate. But, he used the tools at his disposal, and the UFC's anti-doping policy is set up in the way that he was able to just rely on basically his word to get him out of this.
All right, Stephen Morocco joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. Stephen, we were going to do the daily debate right about now. You want to join us via the phone?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, here we go. Don't act like you have something better to do either. All right, here we go. With USADA's handling of John Jones's case and suspending him 15 months for a second offense, what are your current feelings toward the anti-doping agency? Here are your 4 choices, guys. Listen up. Trust the process. Still not sure. Steadily losing faith. And against it from the start. Dan?
It's funny. I feel like I'm somewhere in between steadily losing faith and against it from the start. But I wasn't against it from the start. I had high hopes. I was hoping that it would be a positive influence, but I've been steadily losing faith. So that's where you can lump me in. Lump me in with steadily losing faith. I think it's a very fair statement.
All right, Goes?
I'm steadily losing faith. Not as fast as some of the other people, but it's starting to happen. I need consistency is just the biggest thing, the biggest issue with the UFC, with USADA. I need something consistent, and I don't feel like we have that. We kind of have these guidelines, but sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So steadily losing faith for me.
Stephen, the Magnificent Morocco, how about you?
I think it's impossible not to be losing faith. I mean, I think we want to know that something that's set up like this, something that's so important when it comes to keeping the sport clean, we want to know that it works, the system works well. And unfortunately, I think what we're realizing through a lot of these decisions, and it's like a 2-tiered system. For certain people, it works very, it's very harsh. The punishments are very harsh, and they appear to be kind of arbitrary. And for other people, it appears less so. So you get the sense that there's different tiers of justice for different people based on their popularity. And it's impossible not to feel like it's not, the whole thing's not fair, and to lose a little bit of faith based on the way that Jones was treated.
The first 2 choices are trust the process, and the second one is, or that's the first. The second one's still not sure. I want to be Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Okay.
Mine's actually, I'm still not sure I trust the process. But no, I really did click, still not sure. Man, I want to believe that when we brought USADA aboard, we were going to clean the sport. I want to actually click trust the process, but because of what's been happening and because it's not really explained well, I think they just basically...
It's having an effect.
Yeah, it's having an effect for sure, but because there's like that second tier of like, hey, here's our Bible, these are the rules, but guess what? We can kind of move things around or write amendments or write chapters as we go. That's the part that just frustrates me. So put me down for still not sure. And this is the way it worked out. Actually, steadily losing faith got the most votes, 45%. In second place, trust the process. So a lot of people are standing firm. They believe in USADA. 19% were just against it from the start. Those are the savages that want to see these guys go to the death. 14% said still not sure. So thank you to Junkie Nation, our readers and listeners, for participating. And Morocco, thank you for calling in and clearing a few things up. You're the best in the business when it comes to that, so you got to do more of it.
All right, my pleasure. Anytime.
All right, take care. All right, we ready to go with our next guest?
He's on hold, ready to go.
All right, Douglas Lima is joining us here on the hotline. He's fighting Andrei Korshkov, a repeat of a fight that they had not too long ago, and it was a great fight, man. It was a great fight. Let me just leave it at that. A great fight just needs to be called a great fight. What's up, Douglas? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Great, man. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George, Goes, and Dan. Hey, you looked at it that way, right? That was a great fight between you and Korshkov?
I believe so. It was a back-and-forth battle. We were trying to finish each other. That's what people wanted to see. And, follow up, you're going to keep it going coming up next Saturday.
Is that the hardest that you've exchanged with somebody else in terms of just, I'll hit you, you hit me, and you came out on the winning end, so obviously it's more fun for you to talk about. But, Homeboy was throwing pretty hard himself.
Yeah, I think so, man. Koreshkov is one of the toughest guys out there. He's strong, he's big, he hits hard. And, it's good to trade, with a guy like that. Keeps you, got to keep the defense really tight, because any of those shots lands, it's game over. Mm-hmm. Same for him as well, so he's got to be prepared, got to be ready. And, it's fun.
Yep. Now, this is a trilogy match, but it hasn't been pushed that way much. Mm-hmm. But I can't wait for this fight. I think you two are two of the better welterweights in the whole world, and for some reason it just hasn't been pushed as much. Why do you think that is?
Really not sure. Maybe because the Rampage, Quentin Jackson fight there, the Rory and Musashi. Maybe they were talking, about that fight, those fights a lot more, than this one. But I believe this is the best fight of the night. I think we're very, competitive with both, at the top 2 or 3, of Bellator for sure. And, it's going to be a good one, man. It's going to, like I said before, kind of even matchup, with both, good strikers and, exciting styles. I think it's a fan favorite fight. We proved that before, our last fight, and I'm not sure, honestly, but I'm really not really thinking about that, you know what I mean? I'm just worried about myself, what I have to do, stay healthy,
right,
and come out on top again. And that's the main thing for me,
You're right. You worry about the fighting, leave the promoting to us. And, folks, you got to watch these guys. Douglas Lima and Andrei Koreshkov, they've already battled a few times. The last one was a classic. Douglas Lima walked away with the belt that night. Now, this time, they are basically participants in the welterweight Grand Prix that they have. There's 8 guys that are participating, and these guys got matched up early. So the winner not only wins the trilogy, but they advance in their pursuit of the title held by Rory McDonald. This is Bellator 206, and it takes place September 29th at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. All right, goes. What do you have for Douglas Lima?
Douglas, because you've faced him a couple times already, I have to imagine you look at the first fight, adjustments were made, you fought a different way the second fight, he did the same. Going for a third fight, I imagine you go back and you look at some of the things. Is it possible to almost overthink the situation and just at the end of the day treat it almost like it's the first time you're fighting him now?
Yeah, I think I've seen his best, I just look at it like it's a regular fight, he's got to prepare for everything because I know he's good striking, he's good with the wrestling, I know he's good on top, in the ground. So really, there's no easy way out. You just got to be ready to fight everywhere. He's the guy that is gonna bring it. To finish a guy like that, you got to KO him. You got to break something, because he's not just gonna give up. You know what I mean? That's the type of fighter that he is. And I just got to prepare. I got to be ready for everything. And then the main thing is just going in there healthy. That's the main thing for me. But I feel good right now. I feel great. Camp has been great. There's no excuses. There's no complaints anymore. You just go there and fight. Be ready for everything that he brings. We're familiar with the styles, of course, for me, for him, yeah, but it's a new fight. I don't know if he's going to come, with a different strategy or the same as always. So, just got to prepare for everything. That's what I did. I'm ready. I'm ready to strike. I'm ready to wrestle. I'm ready to fight on the ground. Whatever he brings, I'm ready for it. So, got a couple of surprises for sure. And I just can't wait, man. I can't wait to fight him.
To this day, Douglas, we still talk about the Strikeforce Grand Prix. And we go back and we talk about the Pride Grand Prix. For you, being involved in this Grand Prix now, what does that mean for you career-wise? And how much does it change the level of excitement for you?
A lot, I love it. It's something, that's been done before. Bellator has done it before a couple of times. I won 2 tournaments. I believe Koreshkov won 2 as well. So it's not that we're new, to this type of of this type of stuff, and it's fun. He brings excitement, to the game, something different, and with a lot of killers. It's not just any tournament here. We're talking about the best welterweights in the planet, competing in. So it's very exciting. Hopefully it goes quick. Not too long of a break in between fights. That's what we're hoping for. And man, I believe this is one of the toughest tournament in history for sure. For sure, the winner here really belongs in the top of the welterweight division. That's what I'm planning on doing.
Former Bellator welterweight champion Douglas Lima on the line with us. He fights at Bellator 206 versus another former champion in Andrei Korshkov. They are in the Bellator welterweight Grand Prix. And remember, this fight card is exclusive to DAZN, the digital platform that was announced not too long ago. First month is free. And folks, I can't hold you by the hand, but I can tell you how you can kind of manipulate things a little bit, at least for the first month. The first month's free. Listen up here. If you sign up today, you get McKee versus Makapa, which goes down tomorrow night. You get Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin. Joshua, the baddest man on the planet in the boxing world, right? You get Rampage and Silva 4, Musasi McDonald, Korshkov Lima. They're part of Bellator 206. Then back to boxing, you get Jesse Vargas. He's fighting on October 6th. You get Bellator 207 and 208, which has Fedor versus Sonnen, Mitrione versus Bader, and you still get one more boxing match with Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade. You get all that in the first month. Then it's up to you what you want to do, but I think by then DAZN will have won your heart. It's $9.99 a month, and you get boxing, you get soccer, and you get MMA. All right, Dan Tom, our fight analyst, what do you have for Douglas Lima?
Hey, Douglas. I'm with George here. I think people should be very excited about your guys' third meeting here. I'm excited for this matchup, but I also got to ask you, I respect your opinion a lot as a fighter, Douglas. We have you on the show a lot, and you have experience with one of the main event members, with Rory McDonald facing Gegard Mousasi. So I got to ask you, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown and maybe even a prediction on how you see that fight going?
Man, like skill-wise, I think both of them are very evenly matched up. They're both good strikers and good, jiu-jitsu guys. It's going to come down, I think, with the size. I don't know how much bigger Mousasi is going to be, than Rory. Rory is a pretty big welterweight, but I'm not sure for middleweight. So, man, I think the weight's going to be, well, it depends. We'll see if the weight's going to be the difference. But for me, I think both of them are evenly matched. They're both very good. They're both tough. And, man, I don't know. I can't pick a winner here, Hopefully, let the best man win. I think it's going to be a great fight. And, let's see what happens. I'm just hoping Rory doesn't come out of there with an injury. Hopefully he comes out, healthy so he can do his tournament fight, and keep this tournament going.
All right, Douglas. Hey, thanks, man, for joining us here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. We always appreciate your time. I hope whatever left of camp goes safe for you. Safe travels to San Jose, California, and we'll be tuning in on the 29th for Bellator 206. Two former champions in that stacked Grand Prix that Bellator's throwing. Cannot wait for that fight, and we appreciate your time, bud.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. See you guys soon. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Muito obrigado, mi amigo.
De nada.
There you go. That's Douglas Lima. That's my limited Portuguese go. I know a few things, Obrigado, thank you. Muito is thank you a lot.
You know a lot of things, but none will serve us here.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, we got to take a break here. It's the first break of the second hour. Coming up will be Marvin Furrow from, we were always talking about his bar, goes 1923.
We had a good time there, didn't we?
We sure did. We went back to 1923 last year. Everybody was all dressed up. The Bourbon Bar here in Mandalay Bay. Well, my man's got other stuff going on. We'll talk about that when we come back. Goes had a great time the other day at his new bar, Saki Rock. Rock. All right, Saki Rock. You were telling me it's beautiful.
Terrace up third
overlooking the Toshiba Plaza. His partner, Daniel Guerrero, is here with us as well. And then we're going to have Marvin with yet another guest, but I'm going to save that one when we come back on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Good to hear.
Do what they say, and your life will be a lot better. Here are Gorgeous and Goes.
SiriusXM has your chance to win one of two amazing experiences. A trip to see Garth Brooks perform for the first ever concert at Notre Dame Stadium. Plus, you'll get to meet Garth after the show, or you can be there for Notre Dame versus Pittsburgh, including a stadium tour with locker room and field access. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/Garth Notre Dame before October 1st. No additional purchase is necessary to enter or to win. I don't know about Garth Brooks. I think I'd take the football game. How about you?
I take the football. Well, you know what, though? Everybody keeps telling me that
Are you going country, too?
Awesome. I like a little bit of country.
Everybody's been going country lately. I don't know.
But, yeah, I'm not going to miss a football game, dude.
Yeah, I'm staying firm, man. EDM and hip-hop for me. All right, I want to welcome to the show Marvin Furrow and Daniel Guerrero from the Terrace at Saki Rock. Goes had a great time out there. You guys have a beautiful spot.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And look at you guys, man. Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
They were actually doing the runway.
Yeah.
I mean,
fashion show.
I like that, man.
For charity.
High level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were in a
class
mood too. They weren't
were they really
the type of celebrities that just show up and just
yeah, show
time
face.
card. Like they were actually engaging with everyone. They were really nice and
what great synergy, right? With the businesses and the team, the way they pulled them in last year, and they had a great year, and for them to be doing this stuff for charity with you guys, really happy for you, Marvin.
Thank you.
You're rubbing elbows, man, with.
Well, the right guys like Daniel right here.
That's the connection right there?
He is the man over at the Terrace. So if you need anything, come see him. He set the venue up, and we just help with a great team that we put in place, and it's a great establishment. Real beautiful, overlooks the whole park. So any big fight that's happening, it literally will just spill into our bar up top. And there's a huge terrace outside. You can smoke cigars, enjoy the weather, and you could cruise inside. It's crafty cocktails as well. I mean, it's pretty sick.
Location, yes, right, Daniel?
Yeah, it's all about the location.
Was this forecasted along with the arena and the team coming over, or was this just an opportunity that was
definitely
placed on
the
your lap?
idea behind it is we want to be right smack in the middle of the best energy in the city of Vegas, and that's the Golden Knights. Those are the fights, the MMA fights, the park theater across the street. Everything around it just brings in a good energy, the right kind of people. You should have seen. I mean, I know you weren't at the event, but there were people lined up trying to get inside. It was just hard to get in, and the Golden Knights were really supportive. They were out. They didn't just clock in, clock out. He said they were there to hang out, and they were hanging out, and they were rubbing elbows with everyone. Put on a good show. It was a great time.
Are you a big MMA fan?
I actually am a little bit of an MMA fan. Yeah, I'm
cool.
a practitioner as well. Jiu-jitsu and a little bit of boxing.
So he works the door too, huh?
Yeah.
Who? What? Who's got a problem? Get Daniel over here. All right, what do you practice?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice. Where at?
Yeah. So I started out in South Texas under Luis Vega and Tyler Blizzard, and then made my way over here about 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been in and out of Sergio Pena's gym.
Sergio Pena. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good gym
for sure.
When I went there the other night, he gave me a really good tour of every part of that joint. But the one thing that we couldn't stop looking at was that whole terrace. It'd be nice to put a little table there, do a broadcast, and be able to look out into the crowd and get their attention. They're all right there, dude.
Dude, and they all, like 17,000 pour in and pour out. I love that whole, is it still called Toshiba Plaza? I know with branding something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. But I've always loved that walkway, leading to and coming from, and it spills right into
that energy.
All the bars, those hotels, and we're MGM, part of MGM. So if it goes to Park MGM or if it goes through New York, we're always happy for those hotels. But then when they started building restaurants and bars, wow,
it was awesome.
Yeah, they really, really tightened it up. Kind of reminded me of Nokia Plaza, if that's still what it's called in LA. I haven't been there in a while. Same thing, Staples Center, same effect.
Nice.
I got to give their staff a thumbs up as well. They were all very cordial. Everybody was really cool. But the one trick that they played on me, and I don't know if it was the gozies, if I had too many of those or what, but on the bottom floor, they had a stage set out, right? A catwalk where the models would walk out. And then I went upstairs to the top, and when I called it a night and I came down, I thought I took a wrong turn or something because everything was gone, and now it was a restaurant, and there were tables and everything. And it had looked like they had been there for a while. They were just kind of like sitting there, and I was like, did I get off on the wrong floor or what? But somehow they did all that work while we were up there. I couldn't believe it.
We might have to change those gozies to the Bill Cosby's.
I know, right?
So what? How do you explain that? Did you get off on the wrong room?
No. I went on.
You have the ability to shift everything you need to do?
So we're on top of a restaurant, actually. We're on top of Saki Rock, and their staff is amazing. They really do a really good job of just taking care of people when they walk in, cleaning up, and they're so good at cleaning up that by the time you're upstairs having a great time, if they're closing hours, they close doors about 11 o'clock. If it's past 11, they'll clean it up, they'll close that place out, and it does look like a ghost town downstairs.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah, that's what you ran into.
Yeah, everything. They had moved all the tables back where they needed to be. The whole room just looked completely different.
And what are your hours of business for that? Does it revolve around the team or just the weekends?
It absolutely revolves around the weekend. So, for example, typically we're open from 7 to 1 a.m. The fight night, we were there until about 2:30, 3 a.m. The Mexican crowd, they just love the party. So as long as they're there, we're open.
Nice.
And we're going to be open for every home night game.
Right? Every Golden Night game, we will be home. We will be open.
Regardless of the day?
Regardless of the day.
Regardless of the day.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
So typically if their game's at 8 o'clock, we'll be open at 7 o'clock, 6:30 as well.
What did the Knights say to you all? Did it sound – I know they can't just be, guzzling during the season, but did it sound like, hey, we're coming back, like that type of thing, revolving around their season?
Yeah, this is our bar essentially will be that Vegas Knights bars. We have some barrel-aged cocktails, cocktails for sale, essentially. You get your barrel you could take home with you, and it has a branded Vegas Night logo on it.
Oh, yeah?
And the terrace, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Nobody does that in town, and we're the only ones who do that, so it's pretty cool.
What made you think of that, Daniel?
Literally something that's to take home with you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a barrel. It's kind of like a football. You're just walking around and strip with it. So after you buy it, people are like, well, I don't want to, I want to drink every single bit of it. And, hey, take it with you. Yeah. Take it with you.
You didn't take offense to the fact that I didn't think that you possibly came up with it? I went straight to Daniel.
I
just went right over your head.
Yeah.
I was like, is this thing on, Danny? Or what's going on? I'm trying to zing the guy.
No, that idea was brought to Marvin.
Oh, it was Marvin.
For Marvin and a few other people wanted to bring that together.
I like it.
Yeah, very cool. We also have Conor McGregor's whiskey we're bringing in.
No shit.
It's called Proper 12.
Yeah, he released it this week.
Yeah, we're going to be carrying it at our bar. And, it's called the Proper 12 because he's from Crumlin in Dublin. 12, that's where he's originally from. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're going to make some cool cocktails with that. So come by and check it out. We'll see what we got.
Who do you got in that fight? Habib, the champ, or you think Conor after 2 years of no MMA, because he did box last year.
Did box.
You think he's got something?
He did well.
Something for him.
I don't know. It's just that muscle memory. I think he'll be fine, and I think he pulls it out.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel?
I think that we've seen the best Conor McGregor, in my opinion. I think we've already seen him. I think right now, I don't know what kind of Conor McGregor shows up. It just kind of depends. He's been having a great year this year. He's been having a good time as well, releasing whiskeys, see him at parties, see him in the limelight. I don't know which Conor McGregor is going to show up. I know that, he boxed a great fight against Mayweather. He's got great defensive skills. He's quick. How quick is he going to be? That's just my only thing.
So you're leaning towards Habib?
I am. I think he is his best right now, as we've seen it.
So that's the grappler talking right there.
Well,
the striker's back on the striker.
I listened to Dana White today on First Take, and he was mentioning how Habib's just awkward. He's just different, and he's just a tough matchup for anybody, and it's going to be tough for Conor to win. Doesn't even matter if he was in his prime or whatnot. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I don't know. Right now it's a coin toss for me, 50-50. So
I want to know what their bar is going to look like after the fight that night. Because the way the Irish travel.
Oh, yeah.
And the Russians aren't going to be backing down.
It's going to be some chant going on.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, so they have the official weigh-ins at 4 p.m.
Okay.
They get out at 4:30. But I heard you say your hours are like 7 to 1.
Yeah, 7 to 1. And
but I would like some people to kind of spill out of there and
open it up.
head
so
your
the thing
way.
is,
Maybe?
we actually have we're opening up a party. Proper 12 is going to come in, and the reps are going to come in and have a good time there. So we'll probably open about 5 o'clock that night. Actually,
okay. So the wait won't be too long.
No, we're anticipating that.
Head on up to the terrace.
We're anticipating that crowd to come in. You should get into nightlife. You know what you're talking about.
Now, did you tell me it's the third story overlooking?
Yes.
All right. So Saki Rock at the bottom.
Yeah.
Terrace is you guys. What's in between?
It's just a mess. They have more seating, restaurants, elevator equipment, stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay. Any predictions for the hockey team this year? Can they get to the finals and win it, or what do you think? What do you think, guys?
I'm optimistic, of course.
Yeah.
I think with our experience and getting there now, we know what it takes to win it. So I think we do it. Let's bring it back home.
You a hockey fan?
I am a little bit. It's absolutely hard to say. Last year was a magical season. You know what I mean?
Know,
it was, and especially with Route 91, everything happened, came through. The city came together behind those Golden Knights. So it's hard to match that again. Love to see them. I think it's a great team. We'll see what happens.
What do you think, Goes? We haven't talked much Vegas Golden
Gotta
Knights, but I think
they
dropped that first puck on the 4th, I think, against the Flyers.
Yeah, we got to get through that suspension and see how that's going to affect. Last year, when we would lose players, other guys would step up. So I think I would expect that to happen again this year, and I think they'll be right back in the championship.
I think they'll make the playoffs, and it'll just determine, how they gel together. Last year, I thought they came together great. They had that chip on their shoulder from either being unprotected from other teams or however you want to look at it, released. And they balled, man. It was exciting, and they played well. They were fast, and it was just what the city needed on the heels of the tragedy that we had right around that time, which we're obviously coming up on the 1 year anniversary of that, if you want to call it that. But man, it really, I thought, brought Vegas together. You know, it was a thing of beauty, honestly.
How many games did you go to last year?
Playoff games or just regular season games?
Regular season.
Oh, okay. 3.
3. So you do go to big shows in Las Vegas, huh?
I do go to big shows, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, here's what he's getting at. Oh, okay, there's another setup there. All right, I get it. I went 0 for 3 at Vegas Golden Knights games during the regular season. So I was tabbed the jinx.
It's a good thing he didn't go to many games then.
Yeah.
So,
but get this. My buddy accidentally invited me. He forgot I was the jinx, and he goes, "Hey, I got tickets for the playoffs game." And I went, "Okay," thinking like I thought it was the jinx. I went and we won. So I'm a playoff game good luck charm, but I'm a regular season jinx.
Okay. I'd rather
Depends on how you look at it.
Playoff.
That's when it counts, right, Marv?
Exactly. As long as we have Fleury behind the net, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything big going on here that we can look forward to? Is other than what you have going on the weekends, or is there anything special that you'd like to invite the fans out to, or for them to look out for?
Definitely get ready for the Connor fight. I think that's going to be our hit. We'll open up early that day as well. What time we're going to open the doors? What, 1 or 2?
So we're about 2 o'clock. We'll be opening doors.
2 o'clock fight day, Saturday, for that Connor fight. Definitely come in early, pre-funk there, and then you can walk right over to T-Mobile Arena and come back when you're done.
And what are the specialty drinks? I like the barrel ideas. Is there any other ones to promote?
It'll be a surprise. We're going to do that the proper 12 cocktails that we're coming up with right now, and then just come in and give those a shot. But you always have the Gozy. I mean,
that's the heat.
That's
the Gozy made it over there.
It did. It
oh
did.
Wow.
Everywhere I go, the Gozy will come with me, I promise.
Wow.
You're killing it.
All right, wow, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy. All right, good job, Goose.
He's branding his cocktail.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Goes, I kind of hogged the stage. Was there anything else you wanted to say to Daniel or Marvin before?
I wanted to tell them that they're definitely going to see us the night of the fight, right?
Oh, yeah. We're definitely.
We made that decision last night.
We're heading that way.
We'll have a table
for one,
for you guys.
location.
Right.
But, hey, we want to support friends.
Thank you.
And so we'll be bringing Junkie Nation with us.
Appreciate it.
But Goes could not put into words just how beautiful it was. The location and the event itself, which of course was for charity. So congrats on a successful night, guys.
It's easy to look at too, the eye candy there, huh?
Dude, the ratios were off the chain. You know how over here sometimes we're guy candy?
Yeah.
Over there was the opposite.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What do you got? Bilzerians? Is your is he running the door or
we
what?
We have an amazing cocktail staff. Our cocktail servers are pretty amazing. Come by, check them out. Go to our website. And our Instagram, Terrace LV, the Terrace LV at Instagram. Check them out. They're all super amazing in their own way. But it's better to see them in person, trust me.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Good
Cheers.
luck. Good
all right,
luck
brother.
with
Thank you
very much.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial. Stay close, folks. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on SiriusXM's Fight Nation 93. We'll be back. Actually, Marvin's staying with us, and joining us will be Andy Vargas from Santana. We'll be talking about the upcoming shows that they have. They have a nice run coming in September. They've been here for many years. And, of course, Stitch Duran never at a loss for words when he talks about Santana and all the great moments he's had. And, yes, I've never been. And, yes, I'll be eating crow in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college football, or Major League Baseball team sent right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sports today and click Add to My Calendar. All right, Marvin Furrow sticking around with us. Man, you rub elbows with some really, really cool people. This is Andy Vargas from Santana, which has a residency here at the Mandalay Bay. Great, thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good today.
Brian was telling me, have you met him as Brian or Goes?
I met him as Goes.
Yeah. Oh, as Goes. Okay.
Yeah, but also I know him as Brian.
All right.
I switch it up on him. Depends on what my mood is.
Yep.
I was telling him earlier, I go, man, that dude couldn't be any more cool for being the lead singer of Santana. I thought you were going to come in like Ric Flair with like a robe and here are my glasses, and you've been chilling, high-fiving everybody. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Cool Latino dude, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, it's I come from a city called Watsonville, California. Yeah.
Is that near Otisville in Northern California? Right.
It's in Northern California. Yeah.
We have listeners from Watsonville.
Oh yeah,
like
a lot of
Hollister
fans
area or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, close to Hollister. Yeah, we're right next door to like Aptos, Santa Cruz, and stuff right along the coast there. Yeah, and you know everyone from my hometown, man. You know we just. I'd say good people. A lot of people from Watsonville and Los Angeles and Las Vegas. A lot of people from Watsonville and Las Vegas. But I'm really proud to be from that city, man.
Are you an MMA fan by any chance, Andy?
You want to know something? I was just thinking about that right now because I knew you were going to ask me that question. But I've never really been a follower. When the big fights happen, you know, I get into it, you know, and stuff like that. But I haven't. You know, I'm gonna have to really get up on it so the next time I'm here, I could kind of chime in. But I'm gonna have to leave all of that to Marvin.
But you're a fan of when a scrap breaks out. You're like, oh hey, what's up, right? You're watching.
I'm watching, man. I mean, we had a lot of that stuff, a lot of intensity back in high school and when in Watsonville and some of the.
Oh, we know how they roll in NorCal.
The homies used to go to the backyard. And we used to just box. And just kind of like work it out and stuff and have, good times like that. I guess, you're young and you want to kind of get those aggressions out and things like that. I've got my mind and my things in my life wrapped up in so many things. It's hard for me to follow and keep abreast of so many things, man. But I do like to watch.
Boxing though, right?
Definitely a boxing fan.
Okay.
So what's funny is the last time I went to your show, it was actually the next day after the party that you had. It was the 1 year anniversary of the last time I went to your show, which was the 1 year anniversary of the fight or whatever. And so somebody that went to the fight, he had a Triple G hat on, and Carlos called him out, and I think he gave him the hat and all that. That guy actually ended up being a guest on our show, and we didn't even know it. And he was telling the story, and it turned out it was the guy at your show.
Oh wow! I do remember that. Yeah, because I grab the hat and I gave it to Carlos.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That guy was telling that story on our show, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, I was at that show." And
no kidding.
It was him.
Oh, okay.
And I do have to fess up. I have not been to the show, and you guys have been here for a few years, so I'm ashamed of that as a proud Latino. My dad is a huge fan. Our good friend Stitch Duran is a huge fan. Goes has already come home plenty of times and said it was awesome, along with some of our listeners.
I've been 4 times.
But my dumbass has somehow just not made it there. Now, give me a pass to last year. I'm recovering from a serious knee injury.
Oh, shoot.
But prior to that, I guess I don't know. Yeah,
man,
I goofed.
You're more than welcome if you got some time this weekend.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I've heard some great stuff. I know you have 2 shows this week and then a run coming up in November, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, actually, we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So 3, and then we come back in November. So you let me know, man. You're my guest.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
How can I pass that up? So I'll definitely be taking you up on that.
Yeah.
Can't wait. When did you first, as a young lad, start singing, and when did people start recognizing and going, "Wait, hold on a second, Andy's got some pipes"?
Well, I think it was maybe I was 7 years old, and my dad, Javier Vargas, he had and still does a mariachi band. And he would, in the backyard, we'd have these big barbecues with our families come together, huge family, and he'd get up and start singing with just a guitar, and then he'd bring me up to sing, and all my cousins, I had older female cousins that would always want to get me up to sing. So that was the first time
Because you were good, or Andy's cute, get him up there?
You know, I could hold a note, man. I could sing a song. So like I had a couple songs that I would sing, and I just killed them. Like I knew those songs, so I got up and I just sang those songs, and then I kept on going on. I think part of the thing with singers too is getting up and feeling comfortable to sing in front of an audience.
Right.
So later on, I did something with my dad's mariachi in my grade school in front of I was in kindergarten. And I got up with a little guitar with a couple notes that I knew, and I sang with my dad's mariachi band. And I think that kind of like I kind of broke it right there.
Right.
And then he had me continue to go out, and it was a part of like a little cute Andy singing as well. And my dad would have me come out and sing like 2 or 3 songs at festivals, carnivals and things like that up and down the coast. His mariachi would play everywhere, and so people started asking for me to come along with my dad. So that started that, and kind of my training in singing came from mariachi music, and then as I grew up, my story went along there. I started really getting into to R&B music and hip hop. A huge fan, and we ended up having a group in high school. Me and some of my friends. We were, like kind of the Latino Boys to Men, And I was playing football in high school, and at the same time, I was with these guys. We would go like on our lunch break. We'd go out to the football field and go up to the the stairs and stuff there and practice singing. Like harmonies and things like that. So we sang at talent shows. We were called RAW, Ready and Willing.
Hey, I like that.
So you want to see what a small world this is?
Sure.
Simon Zamano?
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, tell Andy I said hi. Me and his brother Eric are friends. Tell him I said hello.
Oh, man.
If he doesn't remember me, tell him I went to Palma with Eric.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Simon
man.
Zamano's our boss. Huh?
Prom with? Wait. So what?
Palma.
Palma.
Palma with
Eric. At a high school or something.
Yeah. Palma High School in Salinas. Yeah. Tell him I said hello.
Cool.
Please tell him I said hello. Yeah, my brother. I love my brother dearly, man.
That is a small world.
Yeah, we were just talking about my brother.
And you just answered one question that I had was because of your success as a young kid singing, and you said you hit the road with your dad. Did you ever have a normal life as a kid? But then you said high school and football, and you were able to compartmentalize. And
I did. But when I was younger, I always used to want to go play, and my dad would always have me there waiting to kind of be ready, to go and do the performance and stuff. So I did feel a little bit of separation. But then later on, man, I always played, little league baseball, played basketball all the time, all the leagues, and then throughout high school, and then played football. Man, I love football. In high school, we had a pretty good team, man. Watsonville Wildcats.
49ers or Raiders? Who's your squad?
I'm a Raider fan, man. Yeah, I'm a Raider fan.
Is your heart broken that they're coming to Vegas, or because this is like a second home? Are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it, man. I'm okay with it. I know, like when Chargers, left, all my homies in San Diego were loyal to the soil. They're pissed. They're on the radio shows just talking about it, just pissed off and stuff. But I got to be honest, man. Look, maybe being a little selfish. Let's just look out the window.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that thing is, it's coming together, and if you guys have seen the renderings and everything, it's nuts. Hey, we're going to do a couple minutes of overtime here. SiriusXM audience, you get at the fights, you get MMA tonight, you get the Luke Thomas show, Busted Up. It's one of those. Depending on what replay you hear, you'll get the best combat sports entertainment. It's called Fight Nation Channel 93. The rest of you, we're going to do just a couple minutes here of overtime. It's youtube.com/MMA Junkie video with Marvin Furrow and Andy Vargas.
If you see it once, you'll never be the same again.
I miss these old Vegas songs, man. I miss them. You know what I'm saying? You don't get them enough. All you hear is trap and like how EDM and stuff. You don't hear this stuff.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
Foundation.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. You guys play for overtime?
So when we were at the terrace the other night, I was telling Andy a little bit about our trips with the military and the morale stuff, and we came across the Andy Vargas Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about what you do? And
Definitely. I started the foundation in 2015, and then this last year we launched our program of a music program where we mentor kids in their teens, and we use computer software, recording software to have them get together write songs. They come from they're at a time right now where they want to be expressive. Some of them, write poems or play an instrument or something, and or have a little bit of a voice, but they don't, know what to do, or their parents don't know where to send them or whatever. And in San Bernardino, there aren't too many programs out there kind of servicing them. And I had the ambition to want to put something off. I want to mentor kids, and this is how I know how to do it. So I wanted to basically show them what it was that I did when I was, a teenager. And I had turntables, I had a wall of records, and I had a keyboard sampler, and I was making beats. I was sampling, music, and I was writing songs, and with my cousin and my good friend. If he's listening, Art Valdez, he's a big MMA fan. And, that's what we did. So I got together with some people out in San Bernardino. I love the city, and I know that it needs love, and these kids, just someone coming and talking to them for 10 minutes change their life. You know what I mean? Definitely change their perspective or give them a little bit of hope and inspiration. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna put on something here that's solid and concrete. And I realized that I had an opportunity to do this with the city, and I met Assemblymember Eloise Reyes, and she's an amazing person. And she said, you know what? Let me make some phone calls. Let me get back to you. She called me like 2 days later and said, I've got the City College of San Bernardino that wants to collaborate you and house you in putting on your program. So we started working everything out, and we've got laptops, iPads, microphones, headphones. My partner Vision, he's a producer. He just moved back to Riverside, so it worked out that he could be the instructor. We put a curriculum together, and everything's kind of like working out, morphing out according to the kids' reception to this concept. And but their ambition and willingness was tremendous. They came every Thursday and Saturday since we started the program 3 months ago. We finished the end of September. We're making an Andy Vargas Foundation music group album.
That's awesome.
Really?
Each one of them are signing up with an association rights company, BMI, right? So they're going to be able to put in their codes to the music that we're going to upload and release and distribute through our, foundation record label, right? They're going to be able to understand Marvin and I write a song. He's a 50% owner. I'm a 50% equity owner. They're going to be able to understand how to do that process and retain their rights. And now the Music Modernization Act just passed. So, it's a really big deal that if you're in this business, you understand where your music's going, how you're going to get paid from it. And and also you could be your own business, and so I just want to touch that and just light that up inside them. All right, now let's talk about what are we talking about? They're expressing what's going on in their life. A lot of them about love or their family situations, the streets, some of the children are going through some difficult times, and we want to show, man, I was going through difficult times too, and what was happening around me was difficult, but I had this goal and this light that I just wanted to follow. I didn't know what it was, but it came out in the music, right? So I wanted to pass this on to the kids. And listen, we've got some awesome producers now. The first this was 3 months ago, okay, and we had an orientation, and we asked the kids, does anyone know what quantization is? Does anyone know what signal flow is? What a chorus is? And we didn't get any hands that went up, right? But we gave them a fast track to all of this stuff. They're producing music inside of Logic X. They're writing songs. We got a fella in there, his name's Nidric, and he's making these beats that are outrageous. Vision is teaching them some off-the-wall tricks, production tricks of today and the future. And we've got the future right in front of us. So I'm not going to stop here, man. We're actually going to put on a performance as well. See if we could take this, performance on the road, show other high schools and cities what it is that we're doing. And and light up other kids, man. Let them know that this is possible. I've got some great collaborators. I've got Mackie, OWC Computing out of Chicago, QSC, and let's see, Lewitt Microphone, 64 Audio. Man, I couldn't do it without them. I couldn't do it without the support of my staff and the Andy Vargas Foundation staff. Because we're there all the time. We provide lunches for the kids. And, you know, anyone out there watching, you can go to andyvargasfoundation.org. I have a record label called Soleros Records. Soleros is my brand, and the name of my band is my solo project. And I'm releasing music later on this year. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of bring them along the ride and show them the process. You know, starting a nonprofit, I was inspired by a cancer organization that I was working with for many years, and I am an ambassador of, called Padres contra el Cáncer. And I saw the work and the magic that they did. And Elvia Barboa is, you know, the president of Padres. She just kicks butt, man. She goes out there and just kicking butt and making things happen. I'm like, that inspired me to want to do the same. You know, I'm really excited about what we have for our future with our kids. And, you know, next time I come back, man, I'm going to report you. I'm going to show you this record. I'm going to show you, you know, we're not stopping there. I mean, we're helping them with their, you know, their social media marketing. You know, God willing, we can continue the program. And then next is the other half, which is the video, the photos, you know, the social media, you know. And I have a staff, my Soleros digital marketing team staff is going to, I mean, they're lending their love and support, you know. Steve and Charlene Morales. They're, you know, these people just come into the table, man, you know, and we have these kids, man. Shoot, who knows, man? You know, I'll bring some of them over here as well with their families, you know, Las Vegas to come see what it is that we do here, because this is all possible, you know, what you guys are doing here. You know, I used to be in, you know, my room back as a child, pretending like I was doing this stuff with my friends, you know, and we're here, you know, doing it live. It's amazing, and it just really just takes just envisioning it, you know, keep it going, and then when the hard times come, how to continue through them, how to accept that they must come, they have to come, but how to continue passing through. Create your solid team of network around you, your solid friends, because your friends will send you this way and will send you that way. Can tell you something that could stick in your head and spin you out to want to go do something. You know,
this is tremendous. You know, everything you talked about. I did want to ask you a couple follow-up questions to all this. You said it started in 2015. That was the foundation, correct?
Yeah. Well,
the curriculum of what you just described, that started 3 months ago?
Yes, correct.
What are the ages?
So from we have from 12 to 18.
All right, it's on a college campus, but it's not for college kids. It's for kids.
Correct.
At any age, or you have to be at least.
Well, you know what? We started out wanting them from 15 to 18, but we had a couple of you know students that really wanted to be there, and so we opened the door, and you know, we have a 12-year-old girl that's making these beats. I'm listening to it, and I said, "Did you do this, mija?" She said, "Yeah." And I'm like, it just blows me away, you know. And so then, I'm putting the song in song structure. You know what I mean? Let's start writing to this.
You're changing lives, brother.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And for you to take the time to do that, first of all, these kids want somebody like yourself, somebody that they look up to. All they want is an autograph or a picture, and look what you're doing. You're actually giving them more, and you're helping pave the way for future musicians and producers and DJs, and that is awesome. As soon as you started talking, it reminded me a little bit of kind of what LeBron had announced earlier, you know, for what he wanted to do back where he was from in the state of Ohio. Very, very, you know, similar, except yours is more on the music side, but giving those kids a chance to do something, because you're right, whether it's music or acting, a lot of kids want to do it, but expressing themselves is scary.
Yes.
You can get made fun of and bullied. At that age, we're so like, you know, we haven't come out of our shell yet. And someone can destroy you right away and just crush your dreams and say, "Oh, you can't do that," you know, or whatever. Start mowing the lawn or do the dishes, and okay. And then there's others that do get support and say you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you want. So the fact that you're touching them at that age and allowing them to have this opportunity is massive. Very, very cool.
Thank you, George.
Much respect.
Thank you, man. You know, we started in 2015. I was able to file and become tax exempt. You know, 16 and 17, and you know, it took some time. I had a couple of dances where, you know, it didn't go through. And as you know, Andy Vargas, I would go out and I would speak to kids, and I would collaborate with other nonprofits, and I just go out and just give my my time and talk to grade schools or help to put on fundraisers for other foundations and things, and this. I'm trying to remember the name of the nonprofit that I'll be working with coming up real soon. It'll come to me in a minute, but my collaboration with them led towards me to be, to want to do this. And it took, like I said, it took some time, had some dances, had a couple of things that didn't happen, but they weren't meant to be. And this thing is definitely meant to be what I'm doing right now. So it, whenever it can happen, and it happened, and the universe and God brought me these kids.
Yeah.
So we got 14.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
And an album's dropping.
That's
cool, man.
Trip out on that, right?
Yeah.
All this. So, anyways, I'm really happy to be here with Marvin. I met Marvin, was it last year, and he's been nothing but the best soul.
This guy's awesome.
And in introducing me to people, and the energy and the people that are around him, he's always buzzing, always light, always good vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's real. He's real. The boot on his arm is real. He's got that attractive spirit. And I'm really happy to know him, man. I'm happy to know him, and you guys here too. You guys are right here. It's funny because I come over here and sometimes drop a little something, for like some excitement and some parlays or whatever. And until Dozy told me that you guys were here, did I notice? And I think yesterday you saw me. Did you see me walking by, Ghost?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So
I was telling him at the party, somebody walked up to me and went, "Fathead." What? And they were saying, "I recognize you from the Fathead."
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. So thank you guys for having me, man.
Well, thanks for stopping by, man. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here, and what you're doing is amazing. And we'd love to have you back. And yes, I will be there this weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah.
All right, it's on.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
on. It's on. Cool.
I'm here in town, and to get an invite like that, I can't pass it up. So thank you both for stopping by. It was really, really great to have you. Marvin, this is your home anytime. Same goes for you, Andy.
Thank you, brother.
All right, that's our show for today. We rerouted Paul Felder till tomorrow's show. He will be calling the fights for Fox Sports. UFC Sao Paulo is on Saturday. Keep it locked on MMA Junkie throughout the week as we got you covered. Our Fernanda Pratis is out there, and she will be covering and giving you all of the up-close and background for everything that we're covering out there. I'm turning into Tito Ortiz. Holy cow, I'm done. All right, for Dan and Goes and Marvin and Andy and Danny, I'm George. Go out there and be a champion.